Hello everyone, I'm the creator of Naked Bootleg, Doug Menifee, and we're just going to go over the super quick basics on how to play this game. So this is just like a super quick overview of the game, a shallow dive if you will, and hopefully we can go through this fairly fast. So in this game, just like in any other traditional game, you're going to be dealing to other players. We're going to imagine we've got 4 players here. These 3 and then this right here. So what you do is you're going to deal out 10 cards to each player, and then this right here creates the pylon, football term of course, and then what you're going to do is you're going to flip this card over and that creates the discard pile. The objective of the game is to it's twofold. For one, the first thing you're trying to do is you're trying to get cards so you can create either what's called the 4-3 formation, which is this right here, or a streak of same colored cards. So this right here is a 4-3 formation. What that is a set of 3 light cards and a set of 4 light cards, and it's like by name, not like by color. So right here we have 3 shotguns, 4 pistols right here. That would make a 4-3 formation. And then once you make it, then you're trying to get rid of your cards to win the game. So alternatively, instead of doing this 4-3 formation, you can also get a streak of same color cards. And how you do that is you have to get a streak card and pair it with the same colored card. So if I have the streak card, this red streak card, I can pair it with 6 other cards of the same color, total of 7. And once I have that, I can lay it down, and then I'm trying to exit the game. So something I didn't mention, so when you're trying to get these cards, once you've achieved it, what you can do is you can lay down them all at once, like this right here all at once, and you're trying to lay it down in front of you so your opponents can see, and then you're trying to get rid of the rest of the cards in your hand to win the game. Now, you can lay down one of these at a time, or you can lay down both at a time. If you do lay down one, you earn the option to be able to discard without having to pick up a card. Now, at the beginning of the game, what you're trying to do before you get these streaks or sets to make your 4-3 formation, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get cards. And the way to get cards is you're going to either get them from the discard pile or the pylon, and you're just going to add them to your hand. So you're going to pick up from here or here. Now, the only way you can't pick up from here is if you have a card that has this dead play symbol right here. So any action card for the most part has a dead play symbol, and if it's right here, you can't pick up from there, you have to pick up from there. Okay. Now, back to what I was saying, if you are able to put down at least one set, you earn the option not to have to pick up a card if you can discard. Okay. Another thing to mention later, I'm going to just quickly mention that you're able to steal sets from opponents or steal a streak from an opponent. The very first set or streak that's laid down by anybody in the game is considered a first down, and it cannot be stolen by anybody until someone else lays something down. Then it becomes game, and anything can be stolen. How do you end your turn in this game? What you're going to do is discarding on the discard pile here automatically ends your turn. Okay. If you can't discard or choose not to discard or discard in other ways, the way to end your turn is by either just saying pass to your next opponent or motioning with your hand to your next opponent to go. How do I discard in the game? Discarding real simple, just like in any traditional game like this. It's either by likeness, so this X can go on this X right here, or same colored card. So again, likeness or same colored card. Pretty simple. Once you get your formation or streak laid down in front of you here, the next thing to do is now you're in the red zone in the game, and you're trying to get rid of all your cards to win. The last card you get rid of is considered a touchdown. Okay. Now, when you have your streak or formation down, you earn a couple of abilities. One is the ability to stack cards, and the second ability is to hit other players if they've got their streaks or formation or sets laid down. What is stacking? Stacking is getting rid of multiple like cards at the same time on the discard pile. So, for example, if I have these 4 shotguns, if I have them in my hand, I can stack all these as long as the bottom card matches this right here, and I can get rid of all these at the same time. That's what's considered stacking. Now, if you stack an action card, for example, like a pick 6 here, if you have 2 of these pick 6s and you lay them down, action is only going to be used on the top card in that situation. So any action cards you stack, all the action is only going to come from the top card. The other ability I mentioned is hitting, and what hitting is if someone has, say for example this player right here has their shotgun down right here. What you can do is you can get rid of if this was in your hand, you're able to hit your opponent right here and add it to their sets or streaks. So that's another form of discarding, and it keeps you from having to pick up a card. So just gives you other ways of getting rid of cards in the game. How do you win the game? It comes down to, again, getting rid of all your cards. Now, when it comes down to you having 1 card remaining, the alert word in this game is Omaha. Obviously a pretty good choice in this situation. So what you do is you just say Omaha before you have your last card remaining. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, I have these 2 cards. I'll say Omaha, then discard right here. And this becomes your last card, obviously you're trying to get rid of, and you're at the goal line. Once you get rid of this card, it's considered a touchdown. So you're touching down your last card and you win the game. So, and it doesn't have to be on the discard pile. You can discard on anyone's stuff. It's just, again, trying to get rid of all the cards in your hand. So you might have seen in the game that you can bluff. How you bluff in this game is you can take any set that you have and lay them face down, and it's called a disguise set. Okay. Now, the way if it's a bluff, it's a set that does not have any of these cover cards in it. So, for example, these cover cards right here, if I lay them face down, it's a disguise set, but it's considered you're not bluffing. It's legitimate. Okay. If any amount of cards in your disguise set is not a cover card, then it's considered a bluff. So they all have to be cover cards to be considered not bluffing. So, for example, here again, say I put 1 cover card in here. This is a bluff. Well, that wouldn't be a good example of a bluff, but say I do this right here and I lay this set face down. Your opponent, during their turn, can challenge you on it. So if they challenge you and they say, hey, you're lying, and you flip it up and if it's not a bluff, then they're going to lose all their sets and their entire hand except for 1 card of their choice to the bottom of the discard pile. If you were lying, then you're going to lose all your sets to the bottom of the discard pile and your entire hand except for 1 card of your choosing. So that's how bluffing and challenging works. Once you say Omaha, though, no one can challenge you anymore on your set. So once you've said Omaha or said it out loud, no one can challenge you after that point. And also one thing to note is you can't bluff when you do bluff, you have to have at least 3 cards in your hand by the end of that turn. So if you decide to bluff, you can't do it with less than 3 cards in your hand at the end of that exact turn that you decide to bluff. So getting to the action cards in the game, and again, this is a shallow dive, so for something deeper and you guys want to learn a little bit more about the game, go to the Bootleg Bootcamp and go through. I have videos on everything to try to make it as easy as possible for everybody. The game is going to come with a quick guide on the actual cards. That's fairly simple. Everybody's at different levels of learning how to play a game, so I'm trying to cover all bases here. So we've got the quick guide. This is the quick guide plus, and then we've got the actual in-depth game or whatever, and then ultimately when everybody plays the game, that's really where you're going to learn how to play the game. So the action cards, so one of the action cards is the handoff. Handoff is a skip card. You can skip players, simple as that. The next one, obviously these are somewhat familiar cards. This is the reverse right here, and you're going to reverse change direction of play. In some situations, you'll be able to skip people with that card. Next up is the draw play. Draw play, obviously the next player is going to pick up a card and they can lose a turn. Something real quick. If someone lays down a draw play here and you follow it up with another draw play, what that's considered is chaining, And what happens is you're defending it basically, and then the next person has to draw not only this card but this one right here. So it's draw 2. Okay. Now don't confuse that with stacking cards. If you stack this together, that player is only going to draw 1. But if one player puts this down and another player puts this down, the next player then is going to draw the combined amount of cards here. So. Next is the pick 6. Same thing as a draw play, but in that situation you're going to plus 6, or the person's going to pick up 6 and lose a turn. Same thing, combining it, you can chain it together, a little chain down here, and the next player is going to have to pick up 12 if someone happen to defend that. So this card is a negative card that you want to try not to have in your hand, and it's called a Fumblerooski. And what that is you can possibly lose a set if the next player needs it if you play this too early. So if you play it when the next player needs something, you can possibly lose your set to them. And also there's worse circumstances with the black card here. So most of the cards in this game, all the black cards and a couple of the red cards have a power move where they have an additional enhanced ability, and sometimes that's positive, and in this situation for this, as you'll learn later, is negative. So next is the interception. What's cool about that is you can steal other opponents' sets. So to try to get equal footing in the game, if you are behind at all or anything, bluffing is one way of catching up. The other is you can intercept either cards from people's hands or their actual sets or streaks on the board with an interception card. Next is the deflection. To balance that interception out, you can deflect people from intercepting or laying this in a set or in a same color streak. It'll block people from being able to steal in most situations, not all situations. Next up is a spy. Spy, you can spy on people's cards and see what they have in their hand, and that's what a spy is. Next, we got the Hail Mary. Hail Mary allows you to change the color of play as well as play again. So you get to play this and you get to play again. The Wildcat. Wildcats in the game are considered a wild card, and you can change the color of play, or you can add it to your hands in place of another card. So this would be 4 pistols considered with this Wildcat right here. Bootleg. It's another form of stealing, but in this situation you can steal from anybody on the board. The interception, you can only do it from the next player. The bootleg, you can steal from anybody on the board, and you can steal a set from them, as well as change the color of play. Finally, the naked bootleg, same thing, but this one is the premium card in the game, and you can change the color of play, and you can steal up to 2 sets from any amount of people. So you could steal a set from this person, or a streak from somebody in the game, and that's what you can do with that card. So that's the quick tutorial on how to play this game. Again, if you guys want to go get a deep dive, it's been a popular term lately, I kind of like it, but if you want to go further into something, go ahead and go on the Bootleg Bootcamp to learn more about the game. So that's all. Signing out.